It would be wrong for me, though, to say that that's where it ends, because still today I'm in contact with many of my old BYU roommates and colleagues and friends and classmates. It's interesting, having found some of the blogs and video postings here on YouTube about the various paths and experiences and where people are at today. It's evident that once you graduate from BYU, it's not just over. Your life just doesn't suddenly become perfect in terms of a gay community, and all of a sudden all of your past experiences and beliefs and heartfelt longings and thoughts and understandings are now reconciled. It doesn't work that way. But I wonder if the church, the Mormon church, ought to be, could be, should be, will be doing something different with regards to gay and lesbians and the struggle that so many of them face. And it's not just gays and lesbians, it's their friends, it's their families, it's the church leaders that work with them and deal with them and are challenged in trying to be Christ-like and Christian in terms of dealing with these situations given the rules and regulations of the church. Some, it's very black and white, it's very cut and dry. But I know that a number of people that I've spoken with, and in my own experiences as a bishop, when somebody comes to you with a challenge, a struggle, you're compassionate and you're understanding and you're wanting to help them, but here are the tenets of the church that tell you this is the way it is. There's no leniency, there's no gray, it is the way it is. How do you deal with that? I wonder, therefore, is the church really being Christian in how it approaches and deals with minorities within its population, not just gays and lesbians, but also women, mixed races, and the blights of its past. I think there's still a lot of inequality within the church. The fact that it's so patriarchal, and that the hierarchy of the church is well, it's entirely male driven. Yeah, I wonder if the Mormon Church, the LDS Church, could be doing something to support its members more holistically and really in a more Christian way. When I came back to Canada after graduating with my degrees down in the States, I became a practicing choral musician. I had a number of gigs here and there as a solo singer. I went on tour with Sarah Brightman during her La Luna tour here in Canada. But one of the other experiences I had was working with the Unitarian Church here in Calgary, Alberta, and working as its choir director. And the Unitarians are an interesting bunch of folks, and I have to say that I've become quite fond of many of the Unitarians. But there's one Unitarian, a Harvard graduate and a Unitarian minister, who started and was quite involved with the Unitarian faith back in Boston in New England back in the 1800s. I think he was born in the early 1800s and died around 1880 or 1890. But what he did with his community and the Boston Unitarians back in the 1840s and 1850s was quite remarkable. They were actually light years ahead of the social reforms that are even occurring today in the United States. And when I think of what the Boston Unitarians did, and I compare that with you know, the inconceivable actions of people like Jerry Falwell, Pat Buchanan, Fred Phelps, George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, so many others. It's just inconceivable to me what a powerhouse and what a force for good that community was in terms of social good, social justice, social betterment, intellectual change, liberation, children's rights, women's rights, and the rights of all minorities. There are a lot of strong parallels between what the Unitarians in Boston did in the 1840s and 50s and the civil rights movement in the United States. And the reason I mention that now is because the United States has finally elected its first African-American president, Barack Obama. Remarkable. Absolutely something to be celebrated. Whoever thought that it would happen? But it has. And not only are Americans celebrating, but people around the world are celebrating. But I think, however, there are a number of people, many, far too many people, that are celebrating with their heads in the sand because, while Barack Obama was elected president, California, Arizona, Florida voted to limit the rights of gays and lesbians to enter into loving, legal, same-sex marriages. The state of Arkansas banned gay and lesbian individuals and couples from adopting babies. Doesn't that just seem to fly in the face of everything that is Christian and the right-wing Christianity of the United States today? They're talking about having family values. And here are gay and lesbian couples in committed, loving relationships, making commitments to each other, legal and otherwise, making an effort to start a family, to build on society, to encourage and promote everything that right-wing Christianity espouses to believe in and promote, and the people are being blocked at every turn. It makes no sense to me. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.